Before we start this meeting, I'd like to have a moment of prayer, of silence for our mayor's family, Mr. Ball and his family. He lost his daddy, and he's sorry he won't be here tonight, so I think we'll have just a moment of silence. Okay. Roll call.
Mayor Tommy Long. Vice Mayor Bill Foster.
Here.
Alderman John Bud.
Here.
Alderman Freddie Gregg.
Here.
Alderwoman Kathy Holt.
Here.
Alderman Kenny Morgan.
Here.
City Attorney Terry Hurst.
Here.
City Administrator James Fincher.
Here.
I have a motion for the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of March 11, 2014.
I will make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Okay, number 4, proclamations and recognition. We don't have none, as far as I know. Number 5, communications from the city administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The first thing on my agenda is talk just a second about the property tax. One thing we ran into this year, especially right at the end, because as you know, the tax season runs to the last day of February. We had some folks come in on the last day of February, as some are prone to do, and pay their taxes, or attempt to pay their taxes, excuse me. And our records showed that they had back taxes owed for like 11 and 12, or just 12 or 10 or whatever. And as you all know, our policy is if you have not paid your previous taxes, you cannot pay your current taxes. And what, of course, inadvertently, sometimes what we ran upon, just a few of them, but it turned out that our records were wrong and their taxes had been paid. And they brought us proof showing that their taxes had been paid. And so our system, our computer, automatically assesses those penalties on there when you come in a day late, or 2 days or whatever. And so what we did was, of course, we didn't make them pay those fees because that was our mistake. And of course, what Jeff Green, he asked that I bring this up tonight and discuss with y'all, that you all make sure y'all are good with that we do that, and to possibly look at setting a limit on how much you want us to waive as opposed to when you would want them to come in front of you. Now, Jeff says that $50 would get 90% of them, and $250 would get them all. But now that's up to y'all if y'all want to address that or give a maximum how much we can waive without them coming in front of you all. And so the only thing we've dealt with is when that. And the other thing we got into was we fixed this. We had we checked with the county to see how they dealt with it. We're going to do the same thing. We had a check come in from a lender and say that they, how some, a lot of lenders, it's like myself, my payment includes my taxes, my house payment. And so they pay that. Well, sometimes the lenders will wait till the last day to pay it. And what they did was they came in with like a check for 25 properties. And like 2 of them had back taxes, legitimately had back taxes. So we didn't accept the check because of that. Well, we checked with the county, and what the county does is they accept the check, but then they rebate the 2 that had still owed taxes back to the lender. And so that's what we're going to do in the future. But this is something that the girls got hit with on the last day, and they didn't know what to do, and I really didn't know what to do either. So we sent them back. But we found a way to fix that. In the future, we'll deal with that a different way. We're going to copy what the county does, and that shouldn't be an issue in the future. And that's another thing we had to get into. The other 23 on that list, they paid their taxes on time. So we had to do the same thing with them. Those 23 shouldn't have been penalized because the 2 that were included in the whole number had back taxes. So that was just a glitch we ran into that we hadn't dealt with before, and we addressed it and we fixed it. We put a better play in place for next year. But what I'd like for you is make sure y'all are good with the way we're doing that, and if you all want to set a limit on how much we can give rebate like that, or, you know. But Jeff said he thought $50 to $250 range is all we'd need to do it as we've been doing. But we wanted to make sure that you all were good with that, doing it that way.
You're talking about if it's our fault?
Yes.
50?
Right.
Well, I mean, if it's our fault, we should waive it all.
Well, we are. I'm saying no, up to a $50 max.
Before the council approves it.
Yeah, not that we wouldn't, you know, let's put a max on it. Like if it's 3 or 4 or 5 months before they come back and show us it was our mistake. Because it adds up 1.5% a month. So it compounds monthly. And so that was to put a cap on at what point do you want us to not do it and make it come in front of you, or whatever your pleasure was. Jeff felt like you all needed to address it
Kind of motion.
to make sure that you all are good with the way we were doing it.
How's the county do?
It's pretty much the same way.
What's their limit?
I don't know about a limit. They probably got, see, you're supposed to have a board. It's like an appeals board or a council for them to come to, and if you don't have one, it comes to you all. And so since there's not an appointed board in place to hear those kind of things, they come to y'all by default. And so I don't know if the county, I've not dug that far into what the county does. I don't know if they have the council or the CLB. I don't know if the CLB does it or they've got a council that does it, or I really don't. I hadn't checked on it.
It's basically, I believe, what you say, they have a county attorney, and he addresses and then brings it to the committee. They used to do something like that.
Yeah.
And the committee would waive it or
Right.
set it. But what are you wanting us to do? Make some kind of motion?
Just give us Jeff just wanted a dollar amount.
Leave it up to you.
Jeff wanted a dollar amount limit on what he and I could approve, is what Jeff wants.
So like if it takes them 30 days to come back,
Well, the first of the month's when it compounds. Like on June, let's like in February, if you didn't pay your taxes, all right, on March 1st, you get assessed 1.5%. On April 1st, you get another 1 point, and so on. It hits the first day of the month every time. Now, like some of them that we had was $7. You know, that was the Anderson penalty on March the 1st for some of them. It was a big $7 rebate, but nevertheless, it was still assessed, you know. It was our fault because we said they hadn't paid their taxes, and for whatever reason, our records were wrong. And you hit those things sometimes, and it's all computerized, and anybody that deals with a computer knows that sometimes the computer, it's only as good as what's been put into it.
but if they've already paid them, how can we assess them any further money?
Well, we won't accept it. See, that's what I'm saying. If they come in, because that's what we've said, if you owe back taxes, we won't accept your current taxes. So they come and try to pay it, we won't accept it. Because according to our system, it says you owe back taxes, but then they bring the receipts in that show they paid them. And our computer showed they had not. So that's our fault that our computer was wrong.
Yeah,
but I don't-
that's what I'm saying. At that point, when they bring it in and they show that they have indeed paid the taxes, how could we assess them any more charges, even though, because it is our fault?
Well, that's my point. We've not been doing that, but the computer does. The computer puts it, huh? Right. Yeah. See, if you, once that it hits the first of the month, the computer assesses. And see, we're in that local government computer, and a lot of that stuff's automatic. And so we have to take it off. You know, we have to go into the system and take it, take it off manually. Yeah. And so, you know, then if that gets if you get into a state audit, or it go, you know, then you get into why was this done and all that. The auditors pick up on that stuff when you went back and changed something in the computer.
James, 2 questions. 1, what amount would you like? 2, is this a recurring problem that's going to be?
It's going to be every
prevalent
year.
Year to year?
Yeah. To me, $100 or something, to me, Jeff was saying $250 would be the most you probably ever have. He felt like if it's over $250, they need to come to y'all and not put it on us.
Well, I think Terry's talked to
Well, I was just suggesting a motion. I'm not sure why we need a limit.
That's me.
If,
Well, Jeff was he was just felt like if he's over 250, he need to come to y'all. That was his recommendation there. I'm just going strictly on. He was the one wanting it brought in front of y'all. I wish he was here to explain it better than I can.
I think you explained it pretty good. If the council has any other questions, I understand what's going on. A lot of times, the computer will make a mistake, and that's basically what's happened here, and we certainly don't want to overcharge anybody.
It doesn't happen. We only had a handful. You probably count on one hand the times it happened, but it happened 2 or 3 times this year, and it's going to happen every year. The big deal was the one where we had those like 25 properties on one check, and only 2 of them were bad, and the other 23 got penalized because there was one check for all of them. When we felt like the girls weren't comfortable accepting the check because there were 2 on there that legitimately had not paid their taxes. And so, but when we checked with Rob, we found out how he does it over there, and so we felt like in the future that's how we do it here. We'd take the check and refund the 2 bad amounts back to the lender. And that way the others don't get penalized. Instead of us having to come back and fix the computer and refund their money and all that, it fixed it on the front end. But they hadn't run into that. Of course, a lot of the girls are new, but the other girls said they'd never seen that happen before. That was a new one on them where that happened. So, but the lender, I talked with him, and he said that next year he would get his in a lot earlier, so that if we caught it, it wouldn't be an issue, because he I don't know, did he bring it in or mail it on the last day? Yeah, it was postmarked on the last day. We didn't actually get it until after the 1st of March. So
I'll make a motion that we, city administrator and the tax attorney, go ahead and take care of it and then report back to us instead of bringing it to us every time we have one.
well, that's what we're trying to avoid, is bringing it to y'all, yeah.
Don't set a dollar amount, because if it's our fault, we're gonna give it back anyway.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Okay, John.
Another thing, Tina asked me to put on here, I think she's talked to some of y'all about it. Like the discretionary funds that each alderman has, what we would just like for our records, it helps keep the auditors happy, is when you all put in a request to use those funds to use a form that she's provided for you, and that just gives us a paper trail on who requested it and where it went, instead of us just doing it. And so it's just, auditors really require that we have a requisition of some kind to go with any check that goes out. So if y'all could do that, we'd appreciate it, and it'd help us out. Rolling rescue, I've talked to some of y'all about this. During the budget process, in meeting with the animal shelter's running behind on its projected revenue for this year. We projected $150,000. Right now, it's looking like there's going to be between a $12,000 and a $30,000 deficit on the funds they raise, and that's a big concern. What we, in a lengthy afternoon session, what we come up with was we looked at the rolling rescue. Now, the rolling rescue, for anyone that doesn't know, is a program that was started by Dr. Carol Hood, which takes animals from the animal shelter and transfers them to other cities and other states who have a shortage of animals, and they're adoptable, and they take them, and they give us a fee back for each one they take. Now, what we have determined through Brandy's analysis of it was that the rolling rescue was losing money, and that's where some of the drain is on the deficit. When Carol was there, and we all know what a big loss that was, and this is a side effect of that. Of course, Carol started the rolling rescue. It was her pet project, and she diligently and tirelessly went out and solicited and raised money to fund it. And when we lost her, we lost that asset for that. So money for the rolling rescue that normally came in for the rescue is down. We're not getting those donations to fund that. And that was something that was started as a side project that does not technically have anything to do with the animal shelter and animal control. It's a great program. I'm all for saving all the animals we can, but the understanding was that it always had to be self-sufficient. because it can't be funded by taxpayers because it's not a part of what the animal shelter technically does. It was just a side project that the Friends and Carol came up with that they wanted to do. And it's a great thing, but it has to be self-sufficient. So what we came up with was some ideas on how to offset that loss. And one was to raise the fee of $20 that we get back from the cities that take these animals that they send us for the animals we send. But the other, we give 2 shots before we send them. Most places give 1. We cut that. And then we cut the extended stay time of the animals there waiting. You have to keep them in quarantine so long before you send them across state lines. Well, you know, the Friends aren't real happy about it. And I just want to give you a heads up about it, why we did it, what we were looking at when we changed the program a little bit and changed the policies on the roll and rescue. You know, I talked to Mr. Brannon a long time the other day about it. You know, but they're upset that they feel like that we're picking on roll and rescue. But roll and rescue, in my opinion, must be self-sufficient because it was started by Carol as a side project. It was never a part of the animal shelter's program. It's a great thing, but it has to be self-sufficient. And so he has asked that I allow his accountant to look at, are we really losing money on it? And I think I'd have a problem with him looking at everything we got's a public record, and they're more than welcome to look at anything we're spending and anything we're taking in, whatever. But, you know, they're not happy about the changes we made, and I just want to make y'all aware of what we did and why, because I'm sure some of them may start calling y'all and saying, well, we don't like this, and this is what we did, and that's why we did it, because our analysis shows it's losing money. And so we hope with these changes, it'll make it break. All we're trying to do is break even. We're not trying to make money on it. We're just trying to get it to pay for itself. That's all we're doing.
Will it increase euthanizations?
Yes, it will. But they, you know, not to the extent that they said. You know, they said that we're trying to go back to the way it was many years ago where we just killed everything. And that's certainly not our goal. That's not where we're headed. The only thing we're trying to do, and what I strongly suggested to Mr. Brandon, was that they needed to, now that they've lost Carol as this fundraising dynamo that she was, that they need to look at themselves generating more donations to get more involved because it's their program. The Roll and Rescue is the Friends program. And so they just need to, you know, they need to be out here beating the bushes trying to raise a little more money for it. And again, it's not to make us money, it's just to get it to pay for itself. That's all that is. But they felt that it is paying for itself. But our analysis doesn't show that. So that's what we're kind of at odds on. They feel like that it is paying for itself and we're mistaken. So we'll see where that goes.
Is the deficit surely roll and rescue? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So the 12 to 30 is roll and rescue's coming up that short.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's, you know, but that's where that's at. I just want to give a report to you because it's a hot topic with them and they'll probably be calling. So I wanted to explain that, what the deal is on it. You may have noticed the Riverwalk properties over here, the 2 beer joints are gone. They finished up down there yesterday. They're down to the dirt. And so we're going to start moving forward now with trying to do some landscaping, get the fence up, the rail, to block it where it's not a safety hazard, and move forward with it as the weather will allow. But that part has been done. Those 2 properties are cleared and those buildings are gone.
Can I ask you something?
Sure.
At this point? At the Riverwalk, I like it, it's a nice thing, I like to take a walk there, and I like to put a boat in there once in a while, too, I haven't done it yet. When they have the feeding things there for the geese, and something they mess around with, is that a good thing? Encourage it to happen.
Well, those things were put in, I don't, you know, they were put in when it was done. To me, I think that the wildlife is a great thing to come and view, but they do make a mess.
It is, do they have to be there?
Well, they don't have to be. I mean, they don't have to be. Well, that would be, I mean, that would be up to these folks here.
Is the money maker thing?
No.
I would like to see it. I like to see the geese, but I don't like walking.
Yeah. I don't think, I've had people brag on the feeders. I've had people complain about the feeders. I think certainly the feeders may contribute a little bit to the problem, but they're not used that much. I mean, they're very rarely does anybody, they get emptied out and you have to fill them back up. I don't think that, I think you do away with the feeders, I don't think it does one thing to the geese problem. Because there's tons of geese. And we've been around with a property owner down there who feeds them and protects them when they have eggs and little ones, but then he says they're not my geese, because there are ordinances that talk about fowl running at large in the city. But he says they're wildlife, they're not pets, they're not owned by anybody, but he feeds them and he nurtures them and he puts fences around them when they're sitting on eggs. And so I don't know, are they his, or is he just, is he nature's keeper? I don't know. But, it's not been an easy topic to deal with. I mean, it's certainly been a problem. I saw back last year where there was a city, and I can't remember the name of it now, that had to get the wildlife agents to come in because they had almost 1,000 ducks and geese downtown. And they finally had to get them to come in and remove it. Well, if you can figure it out, you can beat us, because we've blowed sirens at them, we've run them, and they go down the river, and as soon as you leave, they come waddling right back.
It's the same thing with the buzzards.
Yeah.
And nobody's allowed to shoot them.
Yeah, they're protected. They're an endangered species. I don't get it because they seem to thrive real well. Okay. A new thing, and I've talked to some of y'all about this, that we've been hit with, for the past several years. NUB has hung the banners down here at the Plain Talk for civic organizations, churches, whoever. They have now begun referring those to us. And we don't have a bit of problem with doing that. We put one up the other day. We had to do, we checked with our insurance to make sure we were doing what we needed to do to stay legal with it. We had to do some training. We got to make sure that the traffic's directed just right for a safety zone. And they got to have the right kind of hanger up there. And so we met all that, and so we hung it. What I would just like from y'all is, since that's something new we've taken on doing, what guidelines do you all want to see in play that would qualify somebody to ask to hang a banner?
Why did we get handed NUB's problem?
I can't answer that. Tim and Ben got the phone call. I didn't, from the lady that they referred on the prior day. And what they relayed to me was, she said that NUB just said they no longer did that. They provided us with a bucket truck, and now we do.
So they're not community friendly.
So I don't know.
But here's the problem, they provide us nothing. We bought that truck.
Yes, we did.
They didn't provide us nothing. I don't like that at all.
So, but I didn't speak with the lady. Ben and Tim spoke with her.
We bought that truck. They didn't give us nothing.
So, I mean, I don't have a problem with putting it up. I mean, like you say, being a good neighbor and trying to accommodate them. But we do need some guidelines, and I just want to give y'all an opportunity to put your 2 cents worth in on what kind of groups or organizations that we'll put a banner up.
Right here's my little 3 cents.
Straight fast.
You'll open up a can of worms if you don't stop it, nip it in the bud. I think we ought to put if we're gonna have to put them up, if NUB gives us a truck, and we have to put them up, I don't think we should put any banners up than what's already been up. But if you're real careful now, if you're not real careful, we'll be putting a sign up there. We got a yard sale on 8th Street. Now that ain't gonna get you.
Well, that's my feelings too.
That's not gonna work.
Well, NUB didn't give us a truck, first of all. We bought the truck.
James, can we just have them submitted like we do the
Parade or
yes, just
road
like
block?
civic.
Blocks or something.
For civic,
My recommendation will be we only do it for civic organizations or like
It's the same-
chamber,
the nonprofit?
Yeah.
non-profit.
That would be my recommendation, yeah. But, I wanted something in place that you all were good with. I want us to get all on the same page. That was my thing.
So do we need to
make a motion on that, how you want to word it.
So
Pursue
are
it.
we agreeing to, I guess, by doing that, we're agreeing to put
Well, yeah.
the city,
sir.
instead of NU, is gonna
Yeah.
hang the banners from now.
Are we gonna?
It's up to y'all too. I mean, we did it, Tim.
Okay, here's the deal. We bought the truck from NUB. I'll give them that. They didn't give it to us though. With that being said, they had done it before. Why all of a sudden, are they blind, crippled, or crazy now? Can they not do it any longer? Just because they,
I can't answer that, I don't. I don't know why they couldn't, would be my answer.
I mean, nobody cares to be community friendly. I certainly don't care to. But I think that it wouldn't kill them either to do, so.
And
I think we need to watch where we're gonna hang these banners. If we're gonna hang them, we need to be careful where we're gonna hang them.
Well, it'd only be, all I'm talking about is that one spot in front of the plane, over, right at the plane top, all I'm.
That's on the
But
spot.
we open it up like this to all nonprofit.
Are we leaving if NU has the discretion now of what banners gets hung, is that how it works?
As far as I know.
Well, I would assume the property owners down there have a say-so in
The
what gets
plain
hung
talk.
down there.
I don't know how that works. You
Can we
have to
get
have her permission.
some
wouldn't you?
more information before we?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
fair to say?
I would suggest we,
We've had to have something in
talk to the property
somewhere
owners and
in the past that says who can hang what or where or whatever. I'm sure we've had it.
Well, on top of that, you are hanging it across the state highway.
true.
I don't own that building over Plain Talk. I don't own that building across the street. I mean, I don't have the right, to me, to hang nothing up back. Am I right or am I wrong?
Is it actually on the building or on your pole?
I don't
I
know,
don't think the
Bill.
city has the right, I don't know about that now.
They got like eye boats run through. I mean,
I did,
need to set some parameters for organizations you're gonna hang for. You say 501c3, that covers a bunch of things.
yeah.
well, the thing is, Plain Talk might not want up there, that's on their building, Plain Talk, and who owns across the street? And we're getting in something more.
I don't think
I
it
said we
has
don't.
the discretion.
I suggest we get more information about what we've been doing in the past and then.
Well, we did the one for the National Day of Prayer because the deadline hit on it and the lady wanted it up and we couldn't wait till this meeting, so I went ahead and okayed. But that was the only, I told Tim, that's the only one I was gonna okay until I got some feedback from y'all. Because it just got dumped in our lap right at the last minute and she had to have it up or she's gonna miss the night, it's gonna miss it. So, I
I
did
don't
it.
think the NUB has the discretion to throw it off on somebody.
But now my people weren't happy that it got delegated to them. But, I didn't want to get into a thing where I wasn't going to let it be put up and miss the National Day of Prayer, so we put it up.
That's a good thing, Dave.
So, but that was all I was going to do till I got with y'all and got some feedback from y'all. It don't matter to me either way. If you say do it, we'll do it. If you say don't do it, we'll put it back to them.
I agree with Freddie, I think we need.
When they have workshop on that.
Yeah, we need some more information about who we've been letting hang signs and go from
And
there.
Like I say, we
if
hadn't
we're
been
gonna
letting
hang just
anybody.
one place, we need to get the Plain Talk to meet with us and whoever owns the building across. the
Is that hooked to the buildings, Tim, or is there posts there? Somebody.
It's hooked to the building like eye boats.
Okay, we'll do some more into it, we'll report back.
Okay.
We're gonna try to have a workshop on May the 6th to deal with the budget. Our goal is to have a budget ready for you to look at on that date. We're waiting on the insurance to come back, but we bid that out, we won't have that back till the 29th. We had hoped to have it earlier. That's up to y'all, it don't matter. Connie's not here, so I hadn't mentioned it to him, but,
Make 5 o'clock.
that's fine. And Frank's gonna be here, Cindy will be here to talk about the budget and stuff, so if you have any questions with them and stuff, but that's our goal, is to have that and be ready to go, and hopefully be able to have a first reading at the May. It's been our goal all along, get the budget in on time, and that requires us having the first reading at the May meeting. So we feel like we're on schedule to do that. Another thing I need your guidance on, and this is going to be another happy deal like the hanging the banner. I got hit today with a request to start putting up political signs down on our property at Phil Owens' property. The ordinance says that no signs, but last election, it was approved by the city manager to allow them to put signs down there. And so I'm not going to approve that because the policy says no, but if you all are good with it, I'm good with it. I'm just strictly looking at the policy. I don't care if there's signs there or not. I'm kind of in the middle. Well, y'all let us do it last time, but the policy says no. So I'm not going to go against the policy, but I have no problem with it. I'm just not going to go against the policy without y'all saying that's okay with you all.
In my opinion, Tim, was it a mowing disaster?
Every sign, every political sign that goes up, that Parks and Recreation, we have to mow around it, or we have to take it up and put it back down. They are mowing nightmares.
I agree with following.
Same way with option signs, any signs that go out there, they're on those grounds.
Is that a motion?
Do we need one?
No, you don't know. You don't need a motion. Policy's in place. I just want some guidance on it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to tell them no, the policy says no, and then y'all not have a problem with it because it was allowed to be done last time. And if it wasn't a policy, I wouldn't have bothered you with it. But since we allowed them to do it last time, and the policy said no, I was going to get caught in the middle.
Equal policy.
Do we need to vote on that or just say follow policy?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
And what we do with those, if we take them up, we take them to the police department.
Yes, in the back, right, correct. As you may have noticed, I don't know, Johnson Control began changing the lights out this week. They're almost done. These have been done in here. Some people have noticed it's brighter. But they began changing those things out yesterday, and they're moving fast. So they almost got this building done. They're planning on having this building and the police department both done this week on just the lights, and that's just the lights. Finally, just to give you a heads up, we're having a lot of problems with the voicemails here at City Hall. Mine will not, for 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I'll not be able to get in mine. Of course, it's all computer operated. Jeremy will reboot it, it'll go up and go right back down. So what I've been having Regina to try to catch my calls if I'm not in the office, and I've been telling the girls out front to ask them to leave a message with them. So, because all y'all have my cell phone number. All the girls are having problems, but mine seems to be the worst. So anybody that's been trying to call or leave me a voicemail here, I'm not getting them. And so what I'm looking at is, it is a big problem, but I don't think it's a big enough problem to spend a bunch of money on it. Johnson Control is part of this program that they're doing, is replacing the phone system. So I felt like that wasn't a big enough hindrance for us that we needed to spend a bunch of money on an outdated system we're going to replace in the next month. So just to make people aware that is an issue we're having here. We don't want anybody to think we're ignoring their phone calls and not answering, but it's just our voicemails are staying down all the time. All right. I apologize for so much time. I'm done.
Thank you, Jane. Okay, number 6, appointment of boards, committee. Our mayor, Connie Ball, recommend for the Equalization Board, Ray Kiefer, and he does all the appointments, so Ray is the member on the Equalization Board. Number 7, report from the committee and members of the council or any other officers, and that'd be Tanner, Privatization Alliance.
Good evening, council. I promise I won't take near as much time as Mr. Fincham did.
Thank you.
Let's start with the news. There's not a lot to report. Some of this may seem redundant to you, but there are a few updates I'd like you to be aware of. We're still experiencing some issues with the IRS with our 5013C application. They're basically telling us that they're backlogged for 6 months to a year. So our solution or our stopgap has been to apply for these grants that we're going to apply for through one of the umbrella organizations that we work with through the partnership. That seems to be working well right now, but the problem is that if whatever grants that we do end up receiving, we'd have to pay about 3% of that grant to that umbrella organization. So but at this point, it looks like it might be at least a stopgap for us. The IRS, as you probably have heard, is just backed up. They don't have enough staff to do what they're doing now, so they're putting us off for quite a while. We have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow with the East Tennessee Development District, which is new for us. We're going to be exploring with Mr. Terry Brabowski some funding opportunities with them. It looks very promising. We've also got a promising situation with the SI Group located here in town with the Family Foundation of that group. They're giving us some very positive signs that they're willing to assist us in our efforts. Our fundraising efforts to this point have been, I wouldn't say spectacular, but they've been steady. Right now, we're going to be doing with Ruby Tuesday, which we've done over the past two or three times already. If anyone is going to be eating out this weekend, we have coupons that Ruby will donate up to 10% back on each check that you take in there with your family. So we have some of those here available if anybody's going to be going out this weekend to Ruby Tuesdays. We're also having a fishing tournament on May 3rd, in a couple of weeks, and I'll try to pronounce this in the appropriate way, the politically correct appropriate way. I understand that it's crappie and not crappy. So in any case, that event will be held at Douglas Lake on May 3rd, and we will be, after the contest, we will actually harvest the fish, and we're having a fish fry at the city park later on that afternoon. And Tim, I promise you, we won't clean the fish over there.
Great fertilizer, but wow.
Yeah, I understand. Also, another couple of things that we've done that have been very positive for us. As the process of applying for the grants that we have already, we were kind of informed that we need to develop a business plan to give to people that we are applying for these grants with, which we have done. We have a business plan in place now that outlines exactly what we're trying to do and what it's for, and we'll have that finished. If anybody would like to see a copy from the council, we'd be glad to provide that for you. We've also been able to garner letters of support. Most of you already know that we have your letter of support we've had for several months. We recently got one from the county, and we should be receiving others very shortly from other businesses that are supporting our efforts. So at this point, that's the best update I can give now. If anybody have any questions about what we're trying to do or what we've done to this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Okay. I'm going to move around on the agenda a little bit. About everybody's here, consideration of the alley open at Hiwassee Street into Heritage Boulevard. So I'm going to move that up to next, and we'll start that proceeding now. Okay, we want to consider the opening of Hiwassee Street into Heritage Boulevard.
I would like to address you.
Just a moment.
Mr. Vice Mayor, what I would suggest, the mayor received a petition, is the reason this was placed on the agenda, requesting that the council consider opening up the alleyway going out onto Heritage Boulevard to allow an access to the traffic light there. What I would suggest, first of all, is the petitioners that the mayor received was the ones wanting it open. So I would suggest that whoever the spokesperson is for that group be allowed to get up and make their statement, and then the opposition be allowed, the spokesperson for the opposition be allowed to make their statement, and y'all have the opportunity to ask questions and move forward from there. But that would be my suggestion on the best way to approach that.
I'd like to see if I can get a promotion to even consider that first.
Oh,
If we
okay.
don't get a motion, then it won't be considered.
Oh, okay.
So I have to have a motion if you want to consider the open of alley open at Hiawassee Street into Heritage Boulevard. Now, I have a motion. Do I have a motion? No motion? No use to have a meeting.
Simple enough.
Simple.
No reason to have any discussion if nobody on the
Nobody?
council wants to make a motion
Let's
on that subject.
Is that agreeable with everybody now? There's no motion, so it won't be considered. Okay, we'll go back to where we started on old business, unfinished business. And that's A's consideration of the second reading of ordinance 2014-01, amending the zoning regulations to permit and regulate sales for tents.
And Vice Mayor, I'll read the caption of that ordinance into the record. It's ordinance number 2014-01, an ordinance to amend the zoning regulations of the city of Newport to permit and regulate sales from tents. And of course, this would be the second reading. It was passed on the first reading at the last meeting. We need a motion.
Need a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion.
I have a second. Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson, Mayor? The people that are here, that were here for that Hiawassee opening, if you all want to leave, I'm sure some of you are looking like you want to get up. We'll give you the opportunity to leave right now if you'd like.
Thank you, Fred.
You just ran them off.
Ready to get these corners up here now. Oh man, get these corners.
Back home.
You need to read that now.
We need to do the second.
Okay, you want to read it?
And Vice Mayor, the second ordinance on old business is ordinance number 2014-02, an ordinance to amend the municipal code of the city of Newport to
Permit sales around.
Not the same one.
Municipal code. Read that. Right there.
Yeah, that shouldn't be right.
Yeah, right there.
Ordinance number 2 is to amend the municipal code. Yeah, that's the same ordinance.
That's the same. From the zoning and regulations.
They get two copies of the same thing in there?
There's one to pass it, another one
Yeah.
to put it in the codes.
Yeah, excuse me.
The code.
Yeah, it's on the-
That's
yeah.
correct. Let me start all over. It's ordinance 2014-02, an ordinance to amend the municipal code of the city of Newport to permit and regulate sales from tents.
Have a motion,
I'll make a motion.
have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor say aye. Nays, ayes have it. Okay, now we'll go back to new business. A is consideration of the first reading of ordinance 2014-3, amending the beer ordinance.
Mayor, I'll read that ordinance, the caption of that ordinance into the record. It's ordinance number 2014-03, an ordinance amending beer ordinance 2007-19, enabling the city recorder to issue a temporary beer permits and giving the beer board permission to issue special events permits. I think that
Dennis is here, so.
Mr. Thornton's here if he wants to tell the council what that's all about.
I'll do that. Take just a minute and try to explain to you. We're trying to clean up some of the 1959 state annotated code with this ordinance, which two of the things, the major components of this are allowing the city recorder to issue a temporary license in conjunction with the chairman of the beer board. Sometimes when a business sells, it doesn't meet the necessary time frame of when the beer board meets. Beer board meets on the first Tuesday of every month. This would allow a sale to take place on June the 1st, and the city recorder could allow for a temporary issue license with conjunction with the chairman until the beer board meets and approves. There would be a charge of $50, I think, to allow that to help. It would just help a business transition. If it ends in a quarter, it's for tax purposes. It simplifies things. The second part of this one also would allow for special events to be a permit to be issued for special events, where it's a one-day event or a multiple-day event. The fees would be set on those separate occasions. But we have that request. We patterned ours after some of our neighboring counties and municipalities. So it's things that's already been done here. One of the other things is we will also now require a TBI background check of any applicant. That's something that hasn't been done in the past. We're trying to increase the policing ability of the beer board to bring it up a little.
So all is recommended by the beer board?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have a motion and a second.
Any further questions? Thank you.
Sounds good, Dennis. Have a motion? Have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Dennis. B, the consideration of donating $2,800 to the Tanner Preservation Lines for consensual design for the Tanner Culture Center.
Of course, Mr. Dykes is here to probably talk about that, Mayor, but it's actually two parts. It's a memorandum of understanding that gives them a bit more authority to have these folks come in and do evaluations and assessments. They want it to show that they have the authority to ask them to do that. And then the second part is the money to pay them that they charge to come in and do that. Now, I'm sure Mr. Dykes can explain it much better than me.
Actually, I think you probably explained it pretty well, Mr. Fincham. The memorandum of understanding is with the Conceptual Design Center out of Knoxville, and what they do is provide a service at a very, very discounted price to come in and do some planning, some architectural engineering studies of the building, and kind of give you an idea of what can be done with the building and what needs to happen going forward in terms of the sprinkler systems, the electrical, and they'll do a complete and thorough overhaul and for the design of the building. At one point, we were looking at doing this, of course, with the library board, but they've kind of decided that's not going to work out for them. So the total cost of this is, for them, they're saying is about $5,600. They're only giving us half price, basically, to come in and do this. If we were to go out and do this with a professional architectural firm, it would cost much more than that. I've been told it'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of $100,000 to do the same thing that they will do for us for $2,800. So that's what we're trying to do. I wish that we didn't have to come hand in hand to ask the board, the council for this, but as we raise money, it seems like it goes out as fast as we can raise it in terms of just things like joining Chamber, the National Preservation Society, and some other things that we do. So that's pretty much the extent of it. They're a very, very professional group. I think, Mr. Morgan, you're aware of what they do. So, you know, I hope you guys see fit to kind of give us a hand on this one. Questions?
One question. James, will you be involved in the process of laying that building down? Or is that feasible to say, Trey, that he's going to participate in how the building's going to, the conceptualization of the building?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we welcome input from all sources. At this point, you know, we don't have any preset concept of what we're going to do, what we'd like to do with the building. You know, we welcome in all input. There's been a lot of people have proposed different things. We've had people propose maybe putting the county museum in there. Of course, we looked at doing the library there. We looked at a senior center. A lot of different things are being proposed, but that's what this firm will do. They will give us some options in terms of what can be done and how much it will eventually cost. But yes, we welcome any input from all sources.
I asked James earlier, we do have the money available still in the pool of money for building repairs.
Yes.
I'll make the motion.
I have a second.
I'll say.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trey.
Appreciate that. Okay, next on the list is the consideration of annual Christmas parade, and the County Partnership has requested all fees be waived.
That's something we do every year. They came every year and request that we allow them to have the parade and the lights and all that, and they asked that we waive the parade ordinance, and we routinely do that. That's up to y'all's discretion and pleasure.
So need a vote for the
We'll
waiver.
need a motion.
I'll make the motion to waive.
Need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it. Okay, the consent agenda, that's for the Cobb County softball team and the March of Dimes for about May 24th and May 31st. I'll hear a motion set that.
I'll make the motion.
Second. I reckon you don't have to have a second. All in favor say aye. Okay, we do. Okay, G is consideration of the farmer's market to be relocated at the Tanner Building.
The mayor asked that be put on there. He serves on that committee. There is a proposal in your packet that talks about what they're asking to do, and that's to locate the farmer's market back to the Tanner Building property. They will only be allowed to serve agricultural producers. The market will operate on Saturday mornings from 7 a.m. till noon, and the market will provide proof of insurance to the city. The only thing, the stipulation that I would ask to put on there, and I haven't been involved in the negotiations with them, the mayor has, but not that they just have insurance, but they have insurance that protects the city. There is a difference. It's not just that you have insurance. It's that if something happens while you're having your event on city property, the city of Newport is covered. If they sue us or file a claim against us, your insurance handles it, not ours. That is the requirement that we have on everybody that does anything on city property. You can either, a lot of times, like Tim, what he does over the park, they'll just have event insurance. It's a one-day insurance policy you go buy for $75 or something, $100. And then some.
I'm here representing the farmer's market today, and I was going to give you an update on what we've found out about that.
Wait just a minute. James, are you finished? Let James finish here.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I'll just explain it, yeah.
Okay, come to the podium there.
Can I ask a question?
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me some time.
What's your name?
Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks.
My wife is the director, is the president of the association, and they've asked me to come and speak to you about it. And we've had, last year we had a beginning of the farmers market for the 4th time, and we're hoping that this year won't be another beginning. We hope we'll be able to do some continuation of what we started last year. But one of the problems that criticisms that we have received from the community is we had too many crafters and not enough agricultural producers. And the way we've solved that this year is we are not allowing any crafters to be in the farmers market at all. Only vegetable or growers or resellers or producers. If you are a farmer, a producer, and also have crafts to sell, you may do that. But you must have some kind of farm products to sell in order to be a member of our group this year. As far as the insurance is concerned, as you can probably imagine, you know how group insurance is. If it's going to cost us $600 a year to buy insurance, we're going to have, you don't expect me to pay the whole $600. We're doing this for the city of Newport because the city wants a farmer's market, and my wife and I are volunteering to do this. We also have a unpaid board of directors. Now, we can get a grant, and we probably will, but it doesn't include salaries. So right now, it's not fair to ask us to cover the cost of the insurance unless we have enough vendors to share the cost of. If we have 10 vendors and each one of us, we're going to have to pay $50 or whatever for the insurance up front. Are we going to, if we have to do that, are we going to run more growers away and not want to pay the $50? Also, if we have more growers, as you can know about insurance, the more you have participating, the less it's going to cost. But exactly what Jim was saying about the insurance, it's the main factor that's right now that's our impediment to keep us from feeling like we can start a farmer's market this year. But we are working on it, and we hope to have enough people agree to participate in order to cover that cost. And yes, we have just changed the name to the Appalachian Farmers Market and Appalachian Community Farmers Market, and all the alder persons have a copy of the printout of the email and so forth about about this. Also, like was being mentioned a while ago, if you have any questions about this, we'd appreciate your emailing or calling and let us know what your concerns are, or any way that you could help. We'd appreciate help. Anybody have a question before I sit down?
I have a question for James or Tim. Is that parking lot available due to the fact that we're doing the design, starting to work on it, that kind of stuff, or is that?
Well, you just have to coordinate around, you know, when you start getting multiple things going on in one location, you have to coordinate it to where they don't overlap.
Is the building safe for them to be around? I guess is a better question.
Oh, yeah, to be outside, yeah.
They're not going to use the restroom?
There is no restroom.
One thing he's talking about the insurance, does our insurance cover the parking lot where they be?
They will, but they won't be happy about it. TML does not like doing that. That's one thing they're very adamant about. They can't stop you from doing it, but they can jack your rates up if you do. They strongly request that any events you allow on city property, that they have event insurance or some type of insurance that covers the city in the case that there's any kind of an incident, because if not, if there's an incident, then TML is responsible for it, and like any insurance company, when they take on more risk, they charge you more for your insurance. So, I mean, that's just the facts. And so if y'all choose that you want to accept that risk through TML, they'll accommodate you, but they'll tell you that you'll pay for it. You know, they won't Now, they won't take it on, they will not take on additional risk without additional premium payments. So just, I have to make you aware of that, and that's y'all's choice. If you choose to do that, just be aware that you'll pay for it. Now, I can't tell you a dollar amount, I can't tell you, but TML, that's something they strongly dislike, is letting events take place on the property without some kind of an insurance policy that protects the city. Everything that Tim has at the park, we have that. We made the Habitat for Humanity, when they wanted to store the stuff in the building, in the Tanner building, we made them do that. That is something we've been consistent about. It's certainly not trying to single these folks out and make them jump through a hoop that everybody else does not have to. We treat everybody alike, and of course that has to be my position, that y'all are above my pay grade. You know, if y'all want to allow that to happen, that's up to you. And I mean, just so you're making an informed decision. That's just my job, to make sure you make an informed decision.
Mr. Hicks, are y'all going to have insurance prior to start the farmer's market?
I guess we will, but right now, we don't have insurance at this time. Our farmer's market will begin in June. So we're hoping to have an idea of some commitments to how many people will be there. If we have, like I said, if we have 10 people, we're probably going to have at least $50 from each one to cover the cost of the insurance. And what I'm afraid is we do that, they're going to just say we'll just walk away, or we'll just go up here and set up on the side of the road and sell our produce out there, and we're not going to, you know, or like perhaps flea markets or whatever, $5 a day. But in order for us to have the insurance, we have to pay the insurance up front. We can't wait and pay the insurance at the end of the season after we know how much money we have.
Mr. Hicks, it'd be my suggestion then that we wait until you get insurance. That's just my opinion. Obviously, if that's what the policy is that we're following, then we need to follow that. And if you get insurance between now and then, I think come back before James or the board and ask again.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Have a motion?
I don't think we need a motion.
We're gonna have to make a motion whether they can use it or not.
You'd have to make a motion to allow it.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd have to make a motion to not allow it.
I don't think you have to make one.
What you're saying though is you wanna make a motion that they
He can put it
can.
back on the agenda for discussion if he gets insurance. Would be my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. I want to go back, I missed one, reading off this, consideration of the 29th Annual Newport Harbor Street Festival.
It's the same thing, it's just an annual thing that they ask to get approved. It requires y'all okay it. And it's just an annual, it's just housekeeping technicality.
Have a motion on that?
I make a motion.
Second, okay. All in favor, aye? Aye. Okay. Sorry about that. Next is the consideration of bid for a 3-point hitch tractor blower for the Parks and Recreation. Tim,
They had two bids come in. One bid, the first bid did not meet the specifications that were outlined, that were put out to be bid on. That was by Sam's Tractor for $36.50, but it did not meet the specifications. The only other bid we got was from Johnson City Power Board. The bid was for $49.95, and it meets the specifications.
I have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, ayes have it.
And
There
just
was a motion
make
to
sure we're
accept
clear
the
that
one.
we're accepting the one that meets the
I'll make it
specifications.
You said you want to make the spec.
Yes.
I'll make the motion to accept the one from Johnson City Power Board for $49.95.
I'll say.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Any comments from citizens?
I want to ask the council for
Come.
What on the agenda? Probably not doing this according to what we're supposed to do. I have an ice cream truck, and I wanted to ask the council to allow me to take it into City Park, to drive through City Park, sell ice cream, not park it, not set it up on blocks.
What's your name again?
Mark Adamson.
Mark Adamson.
I'm a local. Licensed vendor. And I've got insurance.
Whether y'all would like to do, Tim? We'll have to talk to you.
Okay, I've met with Mr. Adams, and he's come up and we sat down. He had contacted the mayor. The mayor had contacted Mark Robinson about ordinances that he's been addressed with at the city park coming through selling ice cream. We're not against the ice cream man. Don't take it wrong. But the reason that the ordinance was established in 94 and 95 by the city council was we were having a lot of people that were setting up into the city park because we didn't have a farmer's market at that time, and they were selling their produce. So since I've been here, the council approved a set of ordinances that it gives the right for the Parks and Recreation to authorize concessions to be sold at the city park. So that way you've got one at the big field, you've got one at the Little League field, and you've got one at the swimming pool, and you've got one at the football field. That's at the city park. All of those concessions sell out the window. It's not that they set up a table and sell their product, or they drive through and sell their product, but they're actually sold outside of or through a window of a structure, such as a concession stand. So Mr. Adams was approached, says, hey, we don't do that in the city park, and of course, that's just a part of the ordinances that you've asked us to enforce, or the council has, and we addressed them. And we're not against the ice cream man by no means, but it does take away in May, June, July, 1st of August, if it does take away from our sales at our concessions.
Do y'all sell ice cream?
Well,
But Tim, that's mean.
Yeah, that's
It's not Vegas. It's an ordinance deal. I'm not against the ice cream man. But I can tell you this, he didn't give the money back to the kids that bought the ice cream at that particular point. We're not against the ice cream man, no way. But, that's just a part of the ordinance, and it was discussed with Mr. Adams. And guys, if that's what you all want to do,
He's just driving through.
yeah, but he stops and he sells, but that's your call, if that's what you all want to do.
Well-
No way, we're not against the ice cream.
Here would be my issue, is the kids all running to the ice cream truck in the city park.
Yeah.
They do,
They do.
the music. They're standing there with the quarter out for the ice cream man.
Order.
He buys about a gallon now.
We keep our prices low at City Park Pool so everybody can buy an ice cream.
when I go past the park, I got everybody in the park waving their arms at me, wanting ice cream, and I can't pull in there. They jump in their cars, they chase me down the highway.
Mark, do you
What's
have
wrong
a
with me?
business permit?
I got a business permit, yes. I got a vending
So
permit,
that you know
I have all the appropriate insurances. I'm just asking.
It's been addressed by other, school board, some other people that
Right.
have asked that he can't sell on their properties, and he
Right.
honored those requests. So there's other people out there that might be against the ice cream man. But there is other people that have addressed him because it does become a safety issue in some places.
Y'all's pleasure.
I'm only passing through there like once or twice a day, that's it.
Not allowing kids to buy ice cream from the ice cream man, that's just not real.
There you go, Kathy.
He probably has a better selection than Parks and Recreation.
Without a doubt.
I'm gonna probably tell you how old I am, but back in the days whenever we drive around the whole park, I was a little bitty Todd. And it was a quarter at that time. They did come.
How many times can you go through?
And then, you know, the only thing I have problem with is the safety part of it. I don't want the city of Newport being liable for somebody getting run over at the city park for a child running across to get some ice cream. I mean, I'm absolutely not against you, absolutely. You look at me and know I love ice cream. And I'm not supposed to have it. Anything tastes good, I ain't supposed to have it. I'm not against you. I think we're to talk about this in a workshop or something.
I will add this, I think where you, I mean, you seem like a respectable, responsible guy. The next person might not be though. If we start making exceptions, that's the part I don't understand.
Well, what I was.
The next person comes through and they want to open an ice cream truck driving through the park, may not be this.
I was going to suggest is maybe you would approve just a permit to go through the park, and then with that way you can approve who goes in the park to do that. I'd pay for a permit to drive through the park, and you can look at all my insurances and stuff like that.
Can we just do a workshop?
I would agree with that.
It does sound
Yeah.
That'd be a good workshop.
That'd be my suggestion. We've got an ordinance in play anyway. We couldn't address it today without a first and second reading to amend the ordinance. So anything.
Would that be okay? We'll bring this up in the workshop and try to address it.
Sure.
Because we have to change the ordinance and it had to be put on the agenda. We couldn't do it tonight.
You're probably not selling ice cream today anyway, are you?
Huh?
You're probably not selling ice cream today anyway.
No.
It's not ice cream with
You leave your name with James and we'll let you know when we're having a workshop and we'll look at the ordinance and see what well, yeah, it's probably been ordered a long time ago, but anyway.
It's back on 10.
We'll see what we can work out.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else have any comments? I hear adjournment.
I'll make a motion.